Welcome, everyone, to Midday Magazine for this May 1st, 2024. I have your host, James J. Malouf here. We want to welcome into the studio our good friends from the Wood County Sheriff's Department. We have Sheriff Sean Becker with us. Good to see you, sir.
Always a pleasure to be here, James.
Appreciate the time. Want to send a big shout out to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, doing such great work for us. Do yourself a favor, go to YouTube, type into your search bar, Wisconsin Rapids Community Media, and subscribe to their page. Keep up to date on the great work that they're doing. Sean, it's been a while since you and I got to hang out. I imagine you got quite a few notes.
I apologize for that. I've been busy the last couple months, so I appreciate you bringing Quentin Ellison. He had the opportunity to come and spend some time with you, and then Ted and Teddy.
Yeah.
It was nice to see them get the opportunity to come in again and just talk about their careers. It's a pretty proud moment. I know Ted Sr. is, but for me, being part of the team and just to see that happen, it's pretty cool.
Always enjoy talking with you, and one of the things that I've enjoyed about that over the years is getting to understand our departments more and some of the people in them, putting a face to these departments and stuff. It's not only, I think, created more of a bridge and more empathy in our community, but it's just interesting too. And I think that it's always good to have that knowledge and stuff. So it's been a great time to be able to bring those guests on, but it's also good to have you in studio, especially. Sir, if you don't mind, I'd like to start off with the scam and the news of that. That seems to hit a little close to home for you guys.
You mind quit and call me sir?
I don't know why I do that. I know. I don't know why I do that. It's uncomfortable for both of us.
Am I that old?
No.
Happening here?
It's a respect thing. It's
we'll go with that.
It's growing up being a knucklehead and seeing that badge. I think that's part of it, man.
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah, the scammers are out there that will try anything and everything, and it's sad. It really is, because obviously it's working in some circumstances where what was happening, as I mentioned, Quentin Ellis was here last month. Somebody's using his name and going there and saying, I'm Quentin Ellis, trying to solicit money. It's sad, and the unfortunate thing is where you're seeing that elderly population get victimized, way too often. We had a situation we put on our Facebook page where we got a thank you letter from an elderly person up in the north end of our county that had got Bitcoin scammed again. And our approach is pretty aggressive on how we're going to handle those. Not all law enforcement agencies do what we do, but once that person gets victimized and they put that amount of cash, which is thousands of dollars, like $20-some thousand into that machine, and our district attorney, our corp counsel, all agree that cash is still evidence and still in that machine, so we can get it. And I know we talked about it before. That the approach that we took is like, if you don't open that machine up for us, we're going to destroy it and recover that money. And because I believe that our victims here in Wood County owe that. Because most of the time what's happening is that money's gone. It is gone. And the cryptocurrency is growing so fast, I don't think the laws have caught up to it yet. But with that situation in particular, it was nice that we got another successful resolution where that elderly couple got their money back, which was, probably their life savings. $20,000 is a lot of money for any of us here in the room, and we were able to recover that for them. And she sent us a thank you letter, and that was that means a lot. Not just because she got the money back, but she put in her letter, I learned a hard lesson. That people are calling me and telling me to go to these ATMs that do the cryptocurrency, and normally that money is gone, but we still have that chance right now to get it back. And since we destroyed one of the ATMs, the words got out, and if we serve a warrant to that company, they're opening up for us. So we're getting that cooperation, and that is appreciated. But we're going to continue to take that approach in those situations to help people get their money back, because normally, so many people get scanned, by thousands upon thousands of dollars, and once it leaves the country, the odds of getting it back are very, very slim. And it's very sad to see, our elderly population getting scammed more and more. My dad, who's 83 years old now, down in Florida, he says, he gets phone calls periodically, and he still has his wits about him, and he'll play along with them. And like, hey, your daughter is in jail right now, and we need you to, bail her out. And she says, well, okay. I have a daughter, and he'll play along with that. But the sad reality is that it's unfortunately working, and it's a reminder for people to, we're not going to solicit people for money. If we have, you're going to know about an event, like if it's a fundraiser for our K-9 unit, you're going to hear from us directly. All right. And we'll talk about a fundraiser coming up in June that we're going to put on in Anchor Bay, but you're going to know about that. And then the other thing too is call back, call in, just say, hey, I just got this. And that's how we found out about what happened with Quinn, that somebody was using his name to solicit money. And then we just get the reminder out to people that we don't do that.
I had somebody first above and beyond on you and the department to get that money back, to do what you could to try to make that happen, let alone accomplishing it. That's way above and beyond. I greatly appreciate that. It's also noteworthy because I've heard a lot of reporting on this. This story broke a couple of days ago, so by now it's been talked about quite a bit by most of the masses and local news outlets. And I've heard a number of outlets call this bold to do this out of the wood, having the department involved in this scam and stuff, and using the department and all this.
Yeah.
We gotta go back to what words mean.
Yeah.
Like, that's not bold. That there's no braveness involved in that or anything like that. It actually speaks to the criminal mind quite a bit, where there can be so much intelligence and thought, and at the same time such boneheaded dumbness of things. It speaks to that more than anything else. Right. Along with the fact, of course, that they're desperate. These scammers, they're running. Their options are getting limited more and more. It doesn't mean that they're still not as powerful as they've been. They're always finding a nook and cranny to go into. Right. But if they're using a sheriff's department as a front, that tells you a lot right there. They're getting desperate and more so, which means we've got them cornered. Which means we've got this more and more where we want it to be as a society. There's still work to be done. Please do not take your eye off the ball. And any of these calls you get, no manager, no organization is ever going to have a problem with, well, I'd like to talk to the boss.
Exactly.
Nobody's ever going to have a problem with that. That's your golden ticket right there, that question. Hanging up, not answering the phone, some of these things.
Hang up. I recommend, because I've gotten some phone calls like this where people are upset, where, hey, I got a phone call saying such and such is in jail, and they need bond money. And obviously people are falling for it because, unfortunately, that does happen. Those phone calls do happen. Normally they'll collect calls that come in, but sometimes they're not. And unfortunately, people bite on that. But what I always say is, all right, hang up the phone, call that, whatever law enforcement agency it is, and then try to confirm that information. Just don't go through saying, hey, I'm going to forward you this money, like right now. Unfortunately, like I said, it does happen where those are legit phone calls, but the scammers are scammers. They're looking for any opportunity where they can get money out of somebody, and they don't care. It doesn't matter to them how much they get.
If a person does receive a questionable call or what turns out to be a scammer, what is the first thing they should do again?
Us. Yeah, call us. And what I would do is call local law enforcement wherever it's happened. And then if it's something that is personal, like they'd figure out, a granddaughter or a grandson's name or a son's name, and they know that they've traveled. I mean, maybe they stalked you on Facebook, all right, and grab some information to personalize it. Still, I would, take the information in and then call that place back wherever they're reporting that they might be in custody and to verify that.
We're speaking with Sheriff Sean Becker, and wanted to get into, we have right around the corner, Mother's Day coming up. Wanted to touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, we had a really nice thing come up last week where a local person in our community that wants to remain anonymous had an idea when he was going to his church that he had read a book that somebody had lived by a prison and was just driving by the prison like a normal everyday thing, and had a thought of like, what? Mother's Day is coming. I wonder if the inmates get the opportunity to send out cards to their mom, and they wrote about it in part of a chapter of this book, and he was touched by that. And then he gave me a call, and we do have some protocol about what can and cannot come into the jail. And initially we're like, I don't know if we do that. That wasn't to me. So he brought his question to me. I'm like, well, absolutely. Why wouldn't we? And then discussing it with our staff, I know we do Christmas cards. So I'm like, well, why wouldn't we do Mother's Day cards, especially if somebody in the community wants to bring them with the stamps and then give inmates the opportunity to send a Mother's Day card. It's a huge day, and so we're going through that. It was nice. What a genuine thing for somebody to do in the community. And he said, next year he had discussed it with some other people in the church that he goes to, and they want to bring more. He's paying attention to what's going on here with their jail, and we'll have more people in our jail. It's like they want to take care of everybody that has, that is in custody. They'll have the opportunity to send their mom a card, and it's like that's touching for me because with my mom, passed a long time ago, and I would give any opportunity to send her a card. I would, and I felt that was very touching. That somebody that thought of people that made mistakes, but they still have a mom, probably do, and why not reach out and just send a card, love whatever, or hey, I'm thinking of you, Mom, on a day. I'm sorry I'm where I'm at, but I'll do better. What kind of a gift could that be? And like I said, I'm jealous because I would give anything, to do something like that for my mom, who's been gone for almost 27 years. But it's a very special day for me because it's a hard day in one sense with my mom, but then I think of my wife Julie and raising two of our girls and how successful Caitlin and Jordan are. Caitlin just got a certificate for her counseling degree or something. She's
right on.
So continuing to help kids down in Madison, cool. But those moments didn't happen if you didn't have a good family structure and especially a very supportive mom. So happy Mother's Day, Julia. I'm proud of you, love you. And my mother-in-law, Marilee, and to all the mothers, that's your day, you deserve it, and everybody behave, okay?
Yeah. On your best behavior, everyone. Yeah. Call your mother.
Definitely.
It's noteworthy, speaking of moms especially, one of the things I learned from mine was that we all mess up. We all make mistakes, and if you own that mistake, you have accountability for that mistake, society will look at you. Society will give you a second chance. That's also the point of jail. I think that now, never on you or your team, of course, but I think to us as a community sometimes, not just a specific community, I mean across the country, across the world, sometimes we lose sight of that. The jail is it's about accountability. It's not about punishment. It's about rehabbing. It's about, learning from your mistakes, thinking them over, having accountability for them, and going on. To that point, when for a lot of prisoners, when they are actually putting in that hard work of trying to see, why did I do this? How can I be a better human being? How can I not end up back here? Some of those things. You go through your past. You go through your history. Some of it is also reaching out to people that you've wronged. Some of it is reaching out to people that have done right by you. So the Mother's Day card idea really goes in line with that, to me at least. Do you feel that way too?
Absolutely.
Because it seems like it goes perfectly in line with that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, no, it was, and inspired from his church, and I'd love to bring up his name, but he just
I know.
Like, about to say it because I think a lot of people would know him, but I want to honor his request, and it was something that we can build upon. Looking at, and we've talked about it numerous times about the jail and walking through the new jail and the opportunities that are going to be in there. We've been doing a lot of community tours with local leadership. Had some folks from the library come in and just showing them the programming rooms. Right now, the current jail only has one that is always being used, and every floor has got them. And just the stuff that they're going to have the opportunity to come and do, and whether it's an art class, they have stuff that they can bring in for inmates if they want to do an art class. Just the opportunities that the library can bring down for programming that we want to get, to continue to expand, I think are exciting in a way, especially seeing the community involvement. That's one thing I didn't expect when I started this position is the community support for people that do make mistakes locally, and it really is opened my eyes that that even though they're people that, like you said, they'll make a mistake, they're going to have to deal with it. They're going to have to deal with the consequences, whether it's time in the facility or pain or both or counseling or all of it. It's part of it. But just the people that want to help, from the faith-based community and beyond that, it's just it's pretty neat to see.
Yeah,
How, people want to be part of helping people out.
Special shout out to all the moms out there. We appreciate every single one of you. Got some a fun event coming up, a bench press meet that you guys are doing.
Yeah, with the new facility on the sheriff's department side, we're going to have an exercise room, and we've talked a lot about wellness and the mental health side of things for our staff, for our corrections staff, and law enforcement staff, the deputies and everything. And I felt it was very important that we had something set aside for an exercise room. Now, that stuff isn't cheap.
Yeah.
We budgeted for some things, but I want to make sure we get some decent equipment for the staff to utilize. So we were kicking around what kind of fundraising can we do. We did have somebody win. We had that calendar raffle that just concluded for our Wood County Rescue. So thank you to everybody that donated to or purchasing the calendar and our rescue unit. They're awesome. They're volunteers that volunteer and go out to help people out and respond to emergencies 24/7 a day. So that money will go towards a new rescue truck. But anyway, getting to this, sorry, kind of side.
No, that was kind of cool to hear, though. That's interesting. Yeah.
We had somebody win one of the raffle items, and then they donated it to the sheriff's department. So we're doing an internal raffle to raise money for exercise equipment. So the other idea was, okay, we want to do an event or something because everybody's so supportive of us. What could we do to raise some money, have a good time, and get some money for our weight room? And I used to power lift quite a bit, and there had been a lot of bench press competitions throughout the state. Probably 5 to 10 years ago, they're really popular. Even before that, and I'm like, So I was talking to the owners at Anchor Bay about, you guys have a really good setup for bands. What do you think if we had a bench press meet outside? Hopefully the weather's going to be good, and they bid. We'll have the stage utilized. We'll have a bench up there. We'll have our judges up there. So each lifter can come up, and they'll have 3 lifts and compete. And
nice.
They'll have different weight classes, age groups. There'll be a police and fire division. So that's going to be June 22nd out at Anchor Bay. We'll start probably getting out there around 10:30. Lifting will start around 11 o'clock. And hopefully we get a lot of competitors. We're looking out for sponsors. So that's going to be the next thing that I'm going to be working on. So if we can get a good chunk of sponsors, we'll raise some money for the fitness room. Like I said, our wellness is so important, and it's I think mind is really important, obviously, but so is the body. And working them together and being fit on both ends of it only makes you a better person to support the community. And I wish the exercise room was bigger because I'm just envisioning so many things, but it's a space we'll be able to get stuff in there, and it'll be a great opportunity for the staff to before shift or after shift workout. I'm looking forward to it.
Nobody works out this way. It'd be pretty silly if you worked out just the right side of your body. It'd be kind of weird. It's just one side is really, you're great with arm wrestling and everything on the right side, the left side, no way.
Right.
Nobody does that. It's interesting that it's the same thing with our mind and our body. Both need the other, and if one's hurting, the other one isn't doing as well. So taking care of your mental health as much as your physical health are so key to this, and it's a great part of what you and the team are doing over there with something like this, and thinking of something like that to be a part of the jail, and a great promotion idea, man. That's my job, is trying to come up with good promotion ideas. I wish I'd have thought of that. That's a great idea.
Well, it's based on some of the experience going back in the day, and then, like I said, kicking around with our staff, and then, like I said, the owners at Anchor Bay were all in, and I thought that was really cool that they'd be willing to do that. And I don't think I've ever been at an outdoor event, so we'll have to have some contingency plans on weather. But I think it'll go really, really well, and we're already getting people signing up. So if we can get around 50 lifters and 5 to 10 sponsors, I think we'll do really well.
Always like to shout out Anchor Bay. Great people, always putting back into this community, always be a part of events, hosting events. I really do appreciate that they do that.
Yep, the Warders and McAlps are great people.
We'll give the information again before we wrap up today.
Yeah.
But if people want to be a part of this, we have businesses out there listening. They want to sponsor or something like that. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, we have an event created on our Facebook page, so you can reach out that way, or just give the Sheriff's Department a call directly. Give me a call, 421-8705 is my direct line. I could email you the entry form with some information, and
Imagine there might be some requirements, some details to that, so certainly want to reach out and find out those details. And anybody, any business out there that wants to be a part of an event, we always encourage people to be a part of these kinds of events. There are there's not much that you're going to get better bang for your buck than putting your business attached to a great nonprofit organization. And don't forget that this is something that our departments are like that. So this is just in the same key of that. So if you can be a part of this event, encourage you to do so.
Yeah, absolutely, or just come out and watch.
Yes. Yeah, you can spread the word about it. We'll be doing that on our morning shows. We'll be encouraging people to make sure you guys get a good crowd.
Awesome.
We are speaking with Sheriff Sean Becker from the Wood County Sheriff's Department and have our friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media in as well. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll come back and talk some more on Midday Magazine here at 97.5 FM, 1320 AM, WFHR. We are locally grown radio. Welcome back, everybody, to Midday Magazine. May 1st, we have, our special edition where we get to talk with the Wood County Sheriff's Department for the entire hour. Sheriff Sean Becker in with us, along with our good friends from Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. We shout them out. Always like to get a jail update when we're talking, so let's go ahead and start right there.
Yeah, things are moving along quite nicely. Pretty much all the concrete is done on the inside of the building. You'll see driving by that a lot of concrete is going out for establishing the parking areas and things like that. But inside, really it's down to the painting, getting all the glass into the cell blocks. What I mean is the windows and things like that, pulling the wires. So it's coming together really well. I believe that it should be done sometime in October, and the goal will be occupied in January or February. But no, going really well. Still within budget. I don't see that changing at all. So, things are going well. We talked a little bit about the programming rooms, how many there's going to be per floor. We just had Mid-State Technical College come in, and one of the inmates graduated with their GED. So that program's still going on, and we'll continue with that partnership. And then we have a recovery prod graduation coming up too. So again, we're going to have plenty of room to continue those programs. Now it's somewhat of a challenge just with the current facility, but I just want people to know that that's a very important thing for us, and we're going to continue to expand upon that. But a couple of celebrations, with people that are in custody that are doing something while they're there, which I admire.
Yeah, definitely. And that's really good to hear. Always good to hear. It's always encouraging. I think that's the kind of thing that everybody out there can take inspiration from.
Yeah.
I did have a listener ask a question the other day, and I thought, well, I could answer it, but I also encourage you to listen to the interview coming up Wednesday and everything. There were some questions about or some uncertainty of what's going to happen with the old jail.
Sure. The next phase, once a new jail is done, the old jail will be torn down. It's gone beyond its life expectancy. Yeah. The county board took a really strong look at that. What can we do? And if they try to do some remodeling, it's going to cost them more to do any remodeling within the facility than to tear it down. And then we'll have some green space, more parking available. And then I think in time on the courthouse campus, they'll have an opportunity to expand if they need to. I know the River Block building, I don't exactly recall how long that lease is, but they're going to have to deal with that. And with us vacating part of the building, they'll be able to bring some departments if they need to, if they want to, back from River Block if that's going to be available. But maybe 10, 20 years down the road, if the need is to build something or add on to the courthouse and bring people back from River Block, that opportunity is going to be there. But the current jail, once we're moved out of it and we move into that next phase of the project, will get torn down.
I'm curious, and this isn't so much a question, just more of us talking as locals and everything. I'm curious to see how that area is going to develop once the jail is up and running, and some of the spots there get a little settled in, and what we're going to do here, what we're going to do there. That area has always, done pretty well. Certainly with the bars and some of the other businesses that have been over there over the years. So it'll be interesting to see that tie into it with that and everything.
I think it's going to look really nice. I'd love to, fast forward about a year and a half, and just to see what the courthouse campus is going to look like. The city's been working with the county really well on some, parking options and things down that road. So nothing's finalized yet, but I think there's a good plan in place that I'm hoping will get pushed through, and that whole campus is going to look really nice.
Spent the first 20-some years of my life working in construction and building, and one of the things that we would always worry about or that happened every once in a while is you do out all these blueprints, everything planned, you got everything you need, you get working, and then you realize, oh, this isn't going to work, or oh, this isn't going to happen. We've been pretty fortunate when it comes to that.
A couple times it did, where some things with the supply chain were challenging that cost a little bit more than expected. But overall, you're gonna, with a project that size, you're gonna have some issues come up, here and there. But I'll tell you what, the issues that have come up have not been, like, oh, we're gonna have to derail this project or even further, or we can't do it. No, the Samuels Group out of Wausau, our project manager, Venture Architects out of Milwaukee, they've been working just really well together. They've been awesome, and we've been very fortunate to work with both of them. We got an opportunity to tour Trempealeau County's jail. They both worked with Samuels Group and Venture. Their jail is, I think, around 80 people. So, I mean, it's quite a bit smaller than what we're going to have, but we got to walk through and just see, okay, what the end product is going to be, and it's very similar to what we're getting. There's some things that are different. I really got to give our jail captain, Ted Ashbeck, a lot of credit. He's kind of our eyes and ears, our representative of the Sheriff's Department with the new project, because he's caught a couple things that, this isn't what we wanted, all right, change it, and they do. It just, mistakes do happen, but Ted's been phenomenal to work with and just be part of the project and seeing it through. And then our ground supervisor, Ruben Van Tassel, same thing. You have two people that complement each other so well, and they have the county's best interests. Nothing against the companies that come in and do the project, but they're there to do a job, get it done, and move on. We have to occupy this and use this facility for 50 years. So we got to have people representing us to making sure it's getting done, and they've been doing a phenomenal job.
Getting to know Ted a little bit, he seems like the perfect guy for that job.
Yep.
It's a really
very
good fit.
detail oriented and great memory, and
appreciate that and the update. Thank you for that. I know you
bet.
have a lot of notes you come in with and a number of different things you want to get to. Is there anything you wanted to touch on there?
Yeah, it's just a tough moment. One of our retirees, Mike Malouf, passed away. We had his funeral last Monday, and he is an icon at the department. He worked for us for over 40 years, and that is so rare in law enforcement. You get, usually people are looking at retirement after about 25 years, especially at 30 years. People, hey, that's the goal. I'm in my 50s. I got the time in, and the way it works out with us in the state retirement, we can retire a little bit earlier than most people. And he kept plugging away, and the reason being, and I said that just to his family. I'm like, with that support at home, that family support, that loving support, that gives us the opportunity to keep doing what we love. And he had a perfect partner with his wife Deb that was so supportive, and we were lucky. The community was lucky to get Mike for 40 years. An icon is a perfect word for him, because he started as a patrol deputy and then, of course, started moving his way up and through the ranks. And when I started, he was supervising the dispatch center when the Sheriff's Department still had it under control. And immediately you knew that he was like the employee's employee, but as a supervisor, somebody that you always could count on. He'd step in, and even as a supervisor, you still come and do whatever needed to be done. Whether it's answer a call or go on the jail floor to help somebody out. or anything like that. He's just a very supportive person, and if you had a question, he'd answer it. He's just always there. And I got to know him when I started here much closer. He's one of our range officers or instructors, and I wasn't a great shot, and and I knew it, and so did the instructors. Not only did Dave, and I'm sorry, Mike, but Dave Ryan and other people knew it as well. And Mike spent extra time with me, and that was very very helpful and gratifying for me because you could see the improvements. My goal is to get on our SWAT team, and here I'm a young deputy. I came from a small department, and I want, hey, look at all these opportunities. Yeah. But hey, one step at a time. And if you can't be proficient with a firearm, well, how can we trust you on the road? So Mike was very very helpful to me to get me through that. That hump in my career to where I am now as far as with firearms, and I greatly appreciate that. But just a great person. He's somebody that's brilliant. He could fix anything if you put in front of him. He'd figure it out, and he'd fix it. And he didn't have a mean bone in his body. And it was a tough one to see leave because he's a very man of faith. And I said this. I'm like, I really struggled with him leaving us because why would God take somebody, not to get religious here, but here's somebody that shares his faith with people want to listen, and he'd only been retired for 6 years, and why would he be taken, but with my struggle about it, I reached out to our chaplains, Dave and Dan, and had the conversation, and it boils down to I answered the why. If it's your time, it's your time, and you have to accept it. And then the reality is that the people left here in this world, we have the memories that nobody can take away. Yeah. And I got to read a poem that was very special to me called Footprints in the Sand at his funeral that really, highlights, when we're struggling, somebody's got your back. Yeah. But Mike will be missed. Like I said, a brilliant man, just a good-hearted individual, and it's unfortunate that we all, especially his family, got kind of robbed with him leaving us way too early. But it's the harsh reality of life that we all go through.
I couldn't help, as you were describing this and talking about this and the situation and everything, feeling a little similarity with Carl, and immediately wanting to be thankful to Mike. I didn't know Mike. I didn't get to meet him or anything, but I do appreciate him. And I have gotten to know you. I have gotten to know a lot of your staff. And from what I can tell, his influence is felt in the trickled effect of that. So as somebody who appreciates you and your team, I can really appreciate Mike. And I don't mean to go off into a side area here, but it is something that I wanted to get into with you a little bit. This week, we do our National Day of Calendar on our morning show on WIRI and everything. And one of the things we're celebrating this week is military families. Yeah. And shouting them out and appreciating them, how important that is for our soldiers. And that is great. We need to do that more and more in society. Something else we could afford to do in society is appreciating police families and sheriff families and some of that. We don't see a lot of that. We don't do a lot of that as a society. And you know better than I do. Well, we all know this. None of us are here without somebody else. Yeah. Somebody helped us get here, whether it is a hand up or it is information they gave us, or just currently with the having somebody there with you. None of us get through life alone. So being able to, have more moments to be able to shout out, our police families and some of that, and that's something that Mike led us into here too. Yeah.
No, I appreciate hearing that. In the month of May, I think it's the third week is Police Week. Yeah. I'd have to look at that, but I know it's this month. And the Marshall Police Department does a service up there that we take part in, and then down in Madison they do as well, where it's pretty moving. Mm-hmm. Where you're honoring the people that the Wisconsin law enforcement officers that gave the ultimate sacrifice to patrol or be part of a community, and somebody took their life. So I appreciate hearing that, because it's not an easy career. We lose too many people to suicide after they leave our profession. We're working on that, but we always can do better. But it's gratifying to hear, you say that, James, that we should do that. And like I've said before, it never gets old when somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, thank you for your service." It's that means something to all of us, because too often now we don't hear that, and we're in a situation where somebody's not cooperating with us, and then people judge us for no reason, just because they're not a supporter of law enforcement. But we all know that in our hearts that most people do.
Good. Yeah. And Mike, we appreciate your service. We thank you.
Thank you.
We thank you, Mike.
Great man. He'll be missed.
Very much. Wanted to get into salary talk a little bit with you.
Yeah.
We
had an issue come up, with their salaries within our organization. Stepping back a little bit, a few months ago when the state passed their budget, the corrections officers for the state, the prison system, got a really big pay jump, and well deserved. And I'm not complaining about that, but I knew that they were making about the same hourly rate as our corrections officers here, and with most county jails. But with that pay jump to start, almost $10 to $12 an hour, how do you compete with that? Yeah. So the first thing that the county did pretty quickly was a pay adjustment to our corrections officers, and I really feel in Central Wisconsin we were probably one of the first agencies to get on this quickly, because we didn't want to lose anybody to the state. We want to take care of our employees, especially when we have a new facility that we're opening up. Well, as we looked at all of our salaries, we do still have a union for the deputy sheriffs, so their raises are established. And what we found out with their hourly rates and other benefits, our sergeants were making more than our patrol lieutenants. And that was pointed out to me in our administration, and I'm like, okay, well, we have a compression issue. So I took it to Human Resources, laid it out. Here are the issues. What can we do? And I'll be honest, Kim McGrath, our HR director, was awesome. She looked at it, researched it even more, agreed. So we're in the process now of making those salary adjustments for our upper administration. And that's very important, because if you look at the future of your organization, you have to take care of them with not only salary but benefits. And there was a pretty big difference between the people that are in the union and the people that aren't in the union. We should try to be at least comparable, at least with benefit-wise, and then obviously salary. The more you move up a rank, the more you're going to get paid. So next week we meet with another committee for the county board, and we'll discuss that, and hopefully we can get that through, because it'd be very I'm really proud of the fact, not only with our HR director, but our team coming together and saying, okay, how can we solve this? What are the ways we can do that? And I'm confident that we'll get it through, and it'll make our team better.
We've talked about this before. It can be difficult already to recruit people for this industry, and staying competitive county-wise, state-wise is vital going forward to not only keeping good people, but bringing in new people, recruiting good people. It's really good to hear that you and everybody being on point on that, getting on that right away. I appreciate so often whenever we come into something where it's not. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say a year from now we're having the same conversation, but we're behind the eight ball. We're behind on it. You guys are ahead of a lot of these things, getting ahead of the curve on some of that stuff, and for everything we can, it only benefits us, because we all know that there's tons of stuff we have no idea what's coming. Right. Tomorrow brings a whole new set of problems, that kind of thing. So it's really encouraging to hear. And it's important also to people out there, especially anybody young out there listening and looking about what career to get into. Here's a wonderful career. I know I talk to a lot of young people that are getting into the arts and everything. And one of the main things I tell them is have a day job. You can chase your dream, have a day job. Don't be a struggling artist, be a surviving artist. And most of them are like, the big thing that they're looking for is, what is an industry that I know is going to be there in 5 or 10 years? Well, here's one. Here's definitely an industry that's going to be there in 10, 15 years and everything.
Go away.
So it's certainly something to think about as well.
Yeah, like I said, it'll set up the future of the department. When you look at people that are willing to, all right, I want to get into a leadership role. It's not about the money. You're not going to get rich, but you're going to see that you're going to be taken care of fairly.
We're speaking with Sheriff Sean Becker from the Wood County Sheriff's Department. And again, a big shout out to Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Got a couple minutes left, sir. I did have one thing I was going to end up on. Did you have something? Anything else you wanted to add?
Shout out to Vince Beagle. Vince is going to come back in town. I had connected with him through his dad, Rocky. We've got a conference that we're putting up, and the Badger Sheriff's Association meets or trains every quarterly, and we're hosting it in Wood County up in Marshfield. And I was helping out set that conference up, and I'm like, well, we can get a speaker in, and so we reached out, and he's coming. So
awesome.
Big shout out to Vince and his family. It's not easy when he's a young man with a family that, he lives in Florida and is going to make going to come up to do a speech for us and hang out with probably, about 2/3 of the sheriffs that are in Wisconsin. So very, very proud of him to make the sacrifice to come up and spend some time with us. And, he'll get a chance to hang out with his family as well.
Yeah, he's going to see. Midwesterners, we always want to come back. It's always nice to be able to do that. Shout out to have a local favorite come back. That's really good to hear. Good on him. Yeah. We're wrapping up. I did want to mention, on a good note, a really fun note, you guys got a new dog, I heard?
Yeah.
Is that why you're tired? Is that why?
Yeah, a little bit. No, we had both Julie and I grew up with collies, and then when we had our family, we got a collie, and she lasted about 11 years, and that moment that we all go through is so hard, and I'm like, never again. We're never going to get it done.
Never.
Nope. And it'd been 8 years, and I didn't realize Julie had connected with a breeder up in the UP, and and she talked about it a few times, and I just must have had a weak moment. I said, that's fine. Let's go get the dog.
Yeah.
So we did, and no, it's been going good. We had her about 2 weeks. She had her first local vet appointment. Breeder was really good, but she's a puppy, so that's why my eyes are a little glazed over a little bit. But hey, it'll all be worth it then. Get to train her the way we should or want to, and
that's awesome. And good on you guys. Good on you for it. Enjoy, have fun.
Yeah, when we talk next month, we'll see how I feel.
And especially since I said that, now I almost kind of like volunteered for dog sitting. So you got to put.
Okay.
I kind of walked into that.
This is being recorded.
Yeah, it's all documented now. So.
Okay, I like it.
Always appreciate the time for me, man. Thank you so much for everything, and a gigantic thank you to you, your team, everything you do for this community. You are appreciated. We see you. We're looking out for you. Stay safe out there. Thanks again for the time.
Always appreciate coming.
Want to send a big thank you as well to our friends at Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Big thank you to them. Keep up to date on all the work that they are doing over there. Go to YouTube, type in your search bar, Wisconsin Rapids Community Media. Subscribe to their page and keep up to date on that work. Say hi to everybody over there for us. And before we wrap up, sir, I did want to give people information on how they can reach out to you. I keep calling you sir. Now it's one of those things where it's in my head. Now it's like, so I'm just doing it for that.
We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, well, off air. If people do want to contact you about the meet or some of the other things coming up.
Give me a call. I mean, you can check us out on Facebook or just give us a call, 715-421-8701's dispatch. Otherwise, my direct line, 421-8705.
I appreciate you. Thanks for the time, Sean.
You bet.
Well, and more Midday Magazine for you coming up on tomorrow on WFHR Locally Grown Radio.